What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Off the Couch Boxing. I'm your host, Reckless Rex Ruger, along with the Nicaraguan Nightmare, Alexis Arguello, in puppet form.
And I'm your other host, Frank Benjis, clocking in at 4:01, late.
Yeah. As you guys can tell, I am the professional one here.
4:01.
And we got him in here right now, man. You got one professional host and one non-professional host, but that's okay, Jake. You know how it goes.
Yeah.
Hey, Jake, just let him know quick. One of us got 4 kids. One of us is 80 years old. It's all right, champ.
That's not true, man. Professionalism exists at all ages, man. When you're podcasting, man, you got to have it profesh. Jake, am I right?
Yeah, 100%.
Jake's an old school guy. There you go. Jake Pollard, first of all, man, I got to say, man, one thing that amazes me about you, and I've got to find out the psyche of a fighter, man, because I believe that you are the true essence of a fighter, man. I'm just so curious to know, man. You know, obviously, it's no secret the win-loss record, man. What keeps you going, my man?
Well, it's obviously a professional sport, so I do get paid. So
Sure.
It's a job to me, and that's what keeps me going. But I love fighting as well. I love boxing, so I wouldn't be able to do it if I didn't love it. But obviously, the money is good. So I started to worry. Is Jake Pollard maybe a sadomasochist? Is he just a guy that likes to get in fights and he doesn't care whether he wins or loses? Yeah, I mean, people look at my record and think that I just go and get beat up every week, but it's not like that at all. I'm in fights and I push a lot of fighters back. Although I do lose, I do push them back and I make them work and I enjoy it.
Yeah, it's actually. I notice on Facebook and in a lot of the boxing groups that you're a topic of conversation like amongst the people. Your name comes up a lot, dude, a lot.
That's good.
Yeah, it does. And I got to say, what's most impressive, though, man, is that, you raise a good point. You really are pushing these guys because, despite having one win, which congratulations on the win this year. I mean, that was huge, right? I mean, despite having won and lost 58, according to BoxRec, you haven't been stopped that many times, though. 4.
No, not many. Not many. And I think on my day, I don't think any of them would have maybe stopped me. I think they were just bad days. And, we fight that often that sometimes you just don't feel like it that night.
Well, I'm glad that you brought up fighting often, man, because and I'm super happy that you came on here. You've already got a fight scheduled for February 3rd, February 24th, and March 9th. And apparently the guy you're fighting February 3rd, it's his debut. Like, are you that guy you feel like that they put in front of a lot of guys that are starting out?
Yeah, to see how they go. They've got to. It's quite a safe bet with my record. They're going to win, but if it's there to be taken, then I'll take it as I did on that one that I took. But yeah, I get a lot of debutants.
And you feel like, you feel in any way, and I'm trying to word this carefully, you find that like you feel like the sport of boxing, might view you as a guy that we're going to put on there to pad someone's record or to use as a stepping stone. I mean, obviously that could be the way that the sport could perceive you. Yeah,
I mean, definitely. And it does build up the records, and it is a lower risk than obviously a 50-50 fight, but at the same time they are still in a fight. And I let these guys, and a lot of them I will see if they can take a punch, and it works. Majority of them can, that's why they're in sport, but they will get tested, see if they can take a punch. I will push them back. If it's 4-round fight, then I'll be on front foot most of the fight. I mean, if it's a 6-round fight, even more. They're often getting tired at the end of them rounds, and I'm just getting warmed up.
Now, obviously, though, like you must want to sometimes, though, obviously, I believe, of course, the UK has bred so many tough bastards, man. Great fighters have come from there. So obviously you are coming to win these fights, though. I mean, are there any that you get up for more, though? Like, like obviously, like this kid you're going to fight February 3rd. It's his debut. Does part of you want to be the guy that like upsets the apple cart, so to speak, and kind of throws a wrench into the plan?
Yeah, I do try for that. But at the same time, I don't get up for fights, as in I don't. I'm not. I don't get wound up. I go in there to enjoy myself, and that is exactly what I do. I relax. I'm calm. I go in there. When I'm in there, I enjoy myself. If the home crowd's giving it some booing, I wind them up a bit, and I just go in and I enjoy myself, and that is it. And that's all I go in for. So I don't get fired up, as in. But to be fair, the home crowd fire me up. If they're booing me and they're cheering on the other guy, like that does get me going a bit. But yeah, just going there to enjoy myself.
I feel like it's.
What were we talking about this subject? I'm curious to know. Do you ever feel like with the record, and like you have like a close fight with a guy? Do you ever feel like you didn't get the decision because of the record, or like?
Yeah.
You think that happens a lot? Yeah.
There's fights that I have myself and other people around me have thought that I did a lot better than what the scorecards were. But it's part of the job, and a win, like I got my win. It don't feel no different as long as I enjoy myself inside that ring. I don't care what the judges or referee scorecard says. As long as I've enjoyed it, that's all that matters to me.
I kind of like that. I kind of like that saying because that's how our podcast started, dude. We didn't care if we were the best or the worst. We just loved interacting with boxing.
I know. We just love the sport of boxing. We just love talking to people that step between those ropes. I always hate that term, and we talk about that on here a lot. I hate that term when guys will call a fighter a bum. I don't think anybody that climbs between those ropes should ever be considered a bum. That's a risk that a lot of regular men or women are not willing to take.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I get a lot of stick for my one win that I've won out of 59 now. But that one win, all of them people who were giving me abuse about that one win, I can guarantee that that's one more than they've got.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then, so how does a guy like you get into boxing, though? So obviously you've got a passion for this. It reminds me a lot of, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Drunken Master, Emmanuel Augustus. He's a guy that fought over here in the United States, and he was a guy that kind of marched to the beat of his own drum. You should go look him up on YouTube, Emmanuel Augustus. And he was a guy that seemed to always have a soundtrack of music going in his head. He kind of did a lot of unorthodox, weird movements, but he didn't really care his win-loss record, and he got hosed a lot. Even in fights that they say he won, he had a very lopsided record, but he just seemed like a guy who really liked the art and the expression of boxing.
And enjoyed himself, most likely.
Yeah. So how does a guy like you get into boxing? Are you a guy that's getting in a lot of fights as a kid?
I did fight as a kid, not a lot, but I did. It wasn't like every day, but yeah. And then I was 21 when I went to my first amateur club, so I didn't start really young. And I enjoyed it, and that's what set me off, really. I did some amateur boxing, which I come to find a bit boring, really, the amateur boxing. And then I had a bit of a break. And then I got into professional, and it's just been like, it's just my life now. Like, professional boxing is my life. It's training, it's fighting. Like, we've been off now because of Christmas. I haven't fought since, I think, maybe the 8th or 9th of December. And it feels like a long time ago that I last fought.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I really think it's a breath of fresh air to hear somebody who just loves the sport so much, and they just, because nowadays it's just everybody wants to be 30-0 or 50-0. Nobody realizes that everybody's not going to be 50-0, and there's going to be guys that just fight to pay the bills.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and like I say, it is good. The money's good, and I do it for that. But I also do it because I love it, and I wouldn't be able to do it just for the money if I didn't love it.
Now, when you say the money's good, obviously we don't want you to open up the books. We don't want to see tax returns or anything like that. But what can you make at a typical night? Like, say you show up for a fight. Like, what is, I guess you'd be considered like a journeyman. I don't want to use any derogatory terms, but you probably would be considered like a journeyman fighter. What can you make on a good night?
You're looking at about £1,500 average.
Benji's, go figure that out in American money, quick.
It's like the same, dude.
It is about the same, I think.
It's about the same.
Yeah. 'Cause I have been on like eBay or Amazon and seen stuff come up that I wanted to order from the UK, and I think it is pretty comparable to the US dollar. Pretty close.
I mean that the price can obviously be debated on a lot of things. If it's late notice, you can ask for more money. If the fighters are better, well, you can ask for what you want, really, but these are things that give you reason to ask for more money. If it's a good fighter, very good fighter, if he's got a lot of stoppages on his record, it's all bargaining power, I suppose, for the away fighter to say, look, we want some more for this because it's not just an average night,
And is there a guy that, you said you started late in life, but did you watch boxing as a kid? Like, was there a guy that you wanted to emulate? Was there like a guy that you idolized in the sport, or that you kind of wanted, that you kind of put up on that pedestal as like your favorite fighter?
Not really. I mean, one of the main fighters really that I did used to watch were Ricky Hatton, but I wasn't a massive boxing fan, as in I wouldn't have known a lot of boxers or watched a lot of fights. So there were no one I really idolized. Maybe Rocky.
Yeah. Actually, man,
Ricky Hatton's going into the Hall of Fame this year.
Yeah, Ricky Hatton's going into the International Boxing Hall of Fame, which we live in upstate New York, so that's right in our backyard. So we're hoping to get up there this year, and hopefully we can procure an interview with Ricky. That would be great, but certainly well deserved. I mean, I was watching some stuff on YouTube about him last night, man. He had a hell of a career, though. He really did.
Yeah. I mean, good.
And obviously his son is kind of going down the same path there too. Campbell, he's off to a nice start in his career too.
Yeah, he's doing well.
And so, are there other guys in the sport, who you could step back from and you could look at that are currently fighting that you're a fan of?
No. I do like Lomachenko. I'm a big fan of Lomachenko. But then other than that, I mean, it's mainly just fighters in our gym, support. I'd like to see them do well and support them.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what you thought about the Lomachenko-Haney fight that we saw earlier this year. Did you think Lomachenko got hosed?
Yeah, I did think he won, and I just find it that he seems to have an hard time, Lomachenko. He doesn't seem to have a lot going in his favour, but yeah, I did think he won that fight, and it's a massive turning point in his career, obviously.
Yeah, he's got to come. He's got to come back and get this Kambosos win, which I think he will do, because he had that chance in that Haney fight to get all the belts all at one shot, and they denied him it. So I've been saying online, I feel sorry for the next guy that has to fight him, because I believe he's very frustrated and very angry, and someone's going to catch an ass whooping. And unfortunately, it looks like it's going to be Kambosos at this point in time.
He's coming to do damage into next time.
I think he is. Now, where do you stand on these gimmick fights? And when I say gimmick fights, I mean like these YouTubers, like when you see a Jake Paul or you see these boxers against these MMA guys. You ultimately like these for the sport, or are you kind of a purist?
We get crappy Jake Paul and Logan Paul, and you guys got crappy KSI.
Yeah.
I didn't used to mind it as much. I mean, I've grown to dislike it even more because it just gets worse. I mean, it's more and more embarrassing. You can't blame them for, if they're getting offered serious money to fight, any of us, I think, would take the money and do it. But it's just embarrassing, I think. They're going a bit overboard with it. And it's just embarrassing. That's the first thing that comes to mind.
It almost feels very pro wrestling. It feels like professional wrestling.
Do you feel like Tommy Fury's like a good, like, do you think he could really cross over and be a real boxer and like fight for like a title?
I think he's found his place where he is, and I think he should stay there. If you ask me,
I agree.
I think he should just know his place and stay there. But I suppose it's entirely up to him what he does. But I think it'd be a bad decision for him to come out in with a serious fighter.
He's like the gatekeeper of the YouTubers.
He is. Yeah. He is. He's the gatekeeper. Yeah. Which I don't know. I don't know. That seems like a dubious honor. I don't know if I'd want that, but
yeah. Well, that's the problem. I think he wants to be known as a boxer, not a YouTube boxer. But it might not go down well for him.
I think it's hard when you dive into that.
He got known beating up YouTubers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And the money that he were getting, obviously, if he were to go back to normal boxing, he wouldn't be getting that sort of money.
Right.
Yeah. Now, obviously, from being friends with you on Facebook, I've seen you put pictures up. You obviously have a beautiful family. You've got children or, a child or whatever. So, is this something that you ever get any pushback from the family? Like where they say, geez, how long are you going to do this boxing thing for? We hate to see you, we hate to see you lose these fights. We're worried about your health. Do you have like a timetable on like when you'd like to stop doing this?
I'd like to. I'm 32 now. I would like to keep going till I'm around 40. I know that is quite a big ask. We obviously have as medicals every year. You never know what's going to crop up on there. I do protect myself very well. And yeah, no, I don't. Family don't. I mean, I've my son every weekend, so there's just me and him. There's no one else to come back on me there. And then my parents, my dad watches me. My mum don't really like to watch, but
I get it, man. It's always the women. Always the women.
Yeah. But no, they don't put no pressure on me. I think they know. I get a lot when my dad's watching me. I get a lot of good feedback from commentators saying how good at my job I am and stuff, and I think that reassures them quite a lot that I am good at my job and I do protect myself well, and I'm not just kind of getting filled in every week.
This is way off topic, but I got to ask you because I asked the last guy we had from the UK on here, and he didn't know him. But have you seen that Bevo guy who eats food and like swallows it whole?
No.
Oh man!
Why does you keep bringing it up and nobody from the UK knows what the hell you're talking about?
No, I haven't seen him.
So, you've had so many names on your resume, and obviously you've only got the one win. So I don't even know if you could even answer this question, but has there been somebody out there that's given you your toughest fight? You want to shout that guy out. Who's giving you a tough fight? Obviously you got the 4 stoppages, but maybe it wasn't one of those guys.
No, it's hard, you see, because last one, which were very tough, not my last one, sorry, but quite recent, Charlie Hickford on TNT Sports, Frank Warren show. Now, that were very, very tough. He gave me a really hard night, but it was quite big, you see.
Yeah.
So, is he going to be as good when he comes across an opponent his size, who, so that it's hard for me to, although Charlie was really, really good and he gave me a really hard time, it's hard for me to put him in that bracket of being the best because I don't know what he's going to be like when, he comes across someone a bit bigger than me and they put a bit of pressure on him. Brandon Scott always stands out to me. He signed with Eddie Earners, as far as I know now. But I fought him in Swansea, which it's like 6 hours for us. And we were on last on the main event. It were a long, long night. He does stand out. Brandon Scott definitely is one of the main people that stands out for me.
Go ahead, Benjis. I see you poised there.
I didn't have none.
I gotta ask though, because BoxRec, I couldn't dig up anything, but we're big ones on always giving a big shout out to people in the fighting game that have great nicknames. Is there a nickname for Jake Pollard, or is it just Jake Pollard?
The Yorkshire Warrior.
The Yorkshire Warrior. That's badass. Yeah. We're gonna have to rank that one pretty high.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I've also I manage myself, you see, and I manage another fighter who's a friend of mine in our gym. He's a journeyman also, and he is the Batley Bulldog.
Nice. You British guys fucking think of some good ones, man. I'll tell you that, man. I mean, that's a good one. The Yorkshire Warrior, and I guess. And so how active do you like to be? Obviously, I just shouted out you got 2 fights coming up here, very close in February, and then another one at the beginning of March. How active do you typically like to be throughout the course of the year? Obviously, we just started a new year. How many times will you fight in 2024?
I mean, it always changes, I've found us that. I mean, it depends on my home situation, on how I feel about how active I want to be. I mean, when I was in a relationship, because everything was smooth for my son at home, and I just like to be out as often as possible, as much as I could. And then I went for a breakup, and I've gone from seeing my son every single day to just on weekends then. So
yeah,
then when I started to leave him on a Saturday to go box, it really had an impact on me at one point. And it didn't go down very well. And now I've got past that. I just want to be active again. I mean, there's 3 on BoxRec. I've actually got 6 booked in.
Already. Yeah,
for February, March. So, and that's how I want it. I mean, that one of the only places I feel so comfortable and so much at home is inside them ropes.
Yeah, that's real. That's deep. I felt that, man. Yeah.
That's where I love to be. And if I fight for 2 weeks and then I've got a weekend when there's no fight booked in, I'll be sat at home on a Saturday evening thinking, God, I wish I were in the, you know.
I wish I was punching somebody in the face right now.
Yeah. I mean, it's simple in there. You know, life's so tricky now and difficult about what you can do and what you can say. But inside them ropes, you know exactly what you're doing. You're punching each other's faces in, and then after the bell, there's so much love after the bell, and everything's clear and simple.
I don't know if this is a healthy thought, Jake, but I'm 51 years old and I sit around on a lot of Saturday nights wishing I was punching somebody in the face too, and I'm not even a pro fighter.
Listen, I want to ask you. You know, you said you were hoping to go till you were 40 years old. So like, if you were to go to 40 years old, what's life like boxing after boxing look like for you, like after 40?
Well, like I said earlier, I've got my manager's license now, and I do manage just myself and my friend at the moment, Nabil Ahmed. And I'd just like to concentrate on us two at the moment. But as I start to slow down, that's when I want to maybe start managing more fighters, and get my trainer's license as well, so I can possibly train fighters and, you know, corner them at shows and stuff.
Now, do you get
fingers crossed, Black?
Now, do you get a little bit of, like, when you see, like I've got the records in front of me. So the guy, as I said, on February 3rd is making his pro debut. The guy on the 24th, according to BoxRec, is 1-0. And then the guy March 9th is 4-0. Is there a part of you inside, though? Obviously I mentioned earlier, you come to every fight to want to win. But when it's a guy's debut and you know they're in that corner and they're thinking that you're just going to be an automatic W on this guy's record, you know, is there a certain kind of feeling that, you know, like, God, I really want to derail the train for this kid? You know what I mean? Why should he go to success and I get another L, you know?
Yeah, no, I don't get any of that feeling. I mean, they do tend to get a bit cocky, and it's nice to punch them and just kind of just make them realise, like you say, they come in there, they think I'm this and that, and you know, there's so much about them. And they get in there and they look at you and they must think, you know, this will be like a sparring session. And when you punch them, when you land a good proper punch on them, I mean, the crowd will go from cheering to ooh, and then it goes silent, you know. And the fighter, like, there's so much shock in them. There's if to say, shit, this is happening. Like, you know, this guy just hit me, and I felt that, and this guy's got potential to upset the job here. So it is nice to kind of put them in the place and say, welcome to professional boxing, because although they might have good amateur records and they might have, you know, there might be a lot of smoke behind them. Like, I've been in them professional ropes 59 times. You know, I've done 4-rounders, I've done 6-rounders with some very, very good fighters. So on experience, I'm on a different level to them.
Yeah, you sure are. Yeah. And so I have to ask, and correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, BoxRec has you listed as a featherweight, correct?
I do fight at feather. That is the maximum I'll fight at now. I have fought up to kind of lightweight before, but I won't go that far up now. Featherweight's my maximum. I've never been down to 8 stone, but I reckon that with a bit of a camp and a proper diet plan, I could do flyweight.
And now, do you feel like, you know, obviously when you're taking these fights so close together, you must be pretty disciplined in the sense that you must stay pretty close to your fight weight as you're walking around weight?
Yeah, I'm real good with my diet. I do everything myself. My diet's really good. My weight, I never miss weight. I'm always on weight. You can't say the same about the home fighters. They quite often miss weight, but I never. I'm a proper professional. I'll turn up on weight, and I never have any problems with it, mate. I do my weight really well.
When the other guy doesn't turn up on weight, is that something that you most of the time don't care about? And also on top of that, do they lose some of their purse, and do you get that part of the purse? Yeah,
so that can happen. But what you've got to take into everything into consideration. So if I'm fighting at 8 stone 6 and he's a couple of pound overweight, I'm not really that bothered because he's only 8 stone 8. Whereas if I'm fighting at 9 stone and he's a couple of pound overweight, you're like beyond my maximum weight that I'll fight at, and then we've got to take into consideration if they're a big puncher, if they're dangerous, and take it all into account and then make a decision from there whether it's safe to go ahead or not.
I got a good feeling about one of these next second 3 fights, though, Jake. I think we're going to get a second win here very soon.
Yeah, we're going to take another one.
Hey, listen, by the time you hit 40 years old, maybe we'll have evened the record right out,
Possibly, yeah. I'll be back on Facebook getting a lot of grief then.
maybe you'll be to the winning side. Who knows? Maybe the losing stops right here at 58 and we never fucking lose again.
I had 49 fights and no one batted an eyelid. No one mentioned my name anywhere on Facebook, nothing. And I got one win for my 50th and everything blew up.
Everybody wants to talk to you suddenly, yeah. That's crazy.
So I made a comment on Facebook because someone had posted about you, your picture from BoxRec and your record. And there was a lot of people who were gleaning to the fact that you'd only been finished 4 times.
That's impressive.
Even up to 58 losses, no one's really beaten this guy to a pulp or nothing.
Yeah.
But I commented on there and I told him, we're gonna get this guy on the podcast, man. We gotta talk to this guy. Yeah, and there was a lot of people. There was a lot of likes on that comment.
Yeah, not only do you deserve to be on here, dude. Not only do you deserve to be on here for the win, but your BoxRec picture is a fantastic mullet. So kudos to the mullet too. Good stuff.
No, I appreciate you guys for having me on. I'm really glad that you've got me on here. And yeah, back to the stoppages. It is really a win for us when us journeymen, when we're in there with someone who has had a camp and they have had a diet plan and they have got sponsors and they're really trying to take us out. And at the end of the final bell, we still stood there looking at them. That's it's like a win in itself. It's like you couldn't take me out. I'm still here.
Yeah. And just think about it this way, Jake. If we switched it around and you were 58-1, you'd be the toast of the town. You'd be the GOAT.
Yeah, well, before I got the win, I was telling people I still had my 0 anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, you still got your O. It's just on the wrong side.
Yeah, it was just the wrong side, yeah.
Yeah. Well, listen, Jake, man, we appreciate you coming on here and doing this. We do hope you'll stay in touch. We'd love to have you back on again from time to time and chop it up with you, man. It's been great talking to you, man. We're fans. Listen, man, you get in the ring for all the right reasons, man. You're what the sport is all about. Not big purses. You're just a guy that really is true to the sport, man. And that's refreshing, as Benji said earlier.
Yeah, do you know what? It's lovely talking to people like yourselves who understand that, and you get so much respect, and it's just so nice because you do get the other side of things where there are people who are uneducated and you get so much grief, and I don't buy into that a lot, but it is nice to get the other side of things like yourselves who have a lot of respect, and it's just nice.
Well, to quote the great Reggie Johnson, I'm going to say the politics, man.
The politics. A lot of times it's the politics, not the politics, the politics. And sometimes it's just, a lot of times it's just, I'm sure you're put in there a lot of times, as we said earlier, because, they're trying to pump some young guy up and they're trying to pad his record, Yeah,
definitely.
That's what it ends up being about, unfortunately, a lot of the time, man. But, we certainly salute you. We're glad you came on here, man. Please, like I said, keep in touch. We'd love to have you back on again.
Definitely. I'd be happy to do that. 100%.
Yeah, and best of luck with the upcoming fights. We're going to be watching, and we're going to get that second W.
I'll get you a win, fellas.
All right, that's a guarantee. He guaranteed it right here, man. Another second win is coming up. In these next 3 fights, we're getting one. We appreciate you,
I'll get
Jake.
you
We
one, man.
appreciate it, man. The Yorkshire Warrior. I love that, man. We appreciate it, man. It was good talking to you, my friend.
You too. Thanks a lot, fellas. I
Much
appreciate
love,
it.
much love, brother.
Yeah, much love, man. Talk to you soon, man.
Take care.
Later.
Cheers later. Bye.
And a solid nickname, man. Yorkshire Warrior, man. That is badass. That is Jake Pollard. Don't try to give him no grief. His record may be 1 win and 58 losses, but he's only been stopped 4 fucking times, man. Tough as nails. That's how they make him over there in the UK, man. And
forget all that boxing shit, dude. Great guy.
Great guy. Yeah, great guy. Doing it for all the right reasons, for the love and the passion of the sport, man. I mean, you got to salute that, man.
And to get paid and take care of his family.
Climbs in there to feed his family and just goes in there because he just has a love for the sport. It's not about wins, losses. It is a little bit about purses, but he's not bringing home huge purses. You know what I mean?
Right.
Although I might consider relocating to the UK to get punched in the face for $1,500 a night. Shit. I'm in the wrong goddamn field. I'll tell you that, man.
Sign me up for every night.
Sign me up. Honey, get some airline tickets. We're relocating to the UK. But that was Jake Pollard, man. We wish him lots of luck. He's got 3 fights coming up, 2 in February, 1 in early March, man. The guy is that guy, a dog. Getting in that ring, man. He ain't no stepping stone, man. Boys, if any of you guys are listening, I believe the guy's name is Josh Babb, who's making his debut. That's the one I think we're going to get. February 3rd, that guy better fucking watch the fuck out, man. Yorkshire Warrior in the house, man. And if you're watching right now, I encourage you guys to like and subscribe and hit the notification button, man. Follow us on Facebook at Off the Couch Boxing.
And I encourage you to go to fucking books on your phone and get Gary Busey's Buseyisms, because I'm going to hit you with a great one right now, because I can go 15 seconds with anything.
Yes, and I am going to reiterate that with keep tuning in. New awesome content every week. And if you want to be a champion, then you have to roll with the champs.